If I were to see you across the street, in the room, in a cafe, there would be certain things I would look at you and immediately want to profile. May I?
What kind of things would they be, please?
You have a loud voice. You seem like, you could be a little scary. I was waiting to see if you would agree or disagree. I'm thinking you agree. Audience, what do you think? You're gonna look like one of the guys, like that you're just there having a cup of coffee, good time, whatever. So you would want to change that about you. You'd want to bring it down. I'm not sure you could bring it down though, can you?
You're a real international expert on violent extremism, terrorism. You've worked with all the top people, Guantanamo Bay. How many people have you profiled? Hi guys, welcome back to the platform. Got an explosive crime thing for you today. I kid you not. I'm going to introduce you to the new playlist, Meet the Expert. If you like people who mess around, this is not the place, guys. We're going to cut the fluff. And I have a real advanced expert here today, Dr Terry Oroszi. She's a violent extremist expert. She's a profiler. She's a body language PhD expert. It's my pleasure to have her in the studio today, and we're going to go deep into the crime thing, guys. Welcome, Terry.
Thank you, Stephen. That was a nice introduction.
Look, you're really advanced at everything, very, very qualified. What we're going to talk about is how do people, for people out there, how do they ascertain, how do they understand quickly friend from foe? Now, I was in organised crime for many years, you know that.
I know that.
You're on the other end of the spectrum, so we're going to do this together and come up with the goods. How do people do that? How do people know the difference between friend and foe, Terry?
The one thing we have to think about is if you're a foe, and if you're not a foe, and everything points to say you are, no harm done. I mean, you may end up going down to the police station, do a quick interview, but no harm done. The problem would be if you're a foe and I read you as a friend. That's when you have the problem. So if I were to see you across the street, in the room, in a cafe, there would be certain things I would look at you and immediately want to profile. May I?
What kind of things would they be, please?
So, number one, you're a big man, you take up room, you come across as being very confident, very sure of yourself, you have a loud voice, you seem like, you could be a little scary. I was waiting to see if you would agree or disagree. I'm thinking you agree. Audience, what do you think? So right away, if you don't know, you're going to be intimidated by you. And you kind of have the look of, let's just say it, a New York gangster. So you automatically profiling, like I'm totally doing Sopranos when I see you. So why is this important? Because if you wanted to come across as a friend, like if you were trying to case a place, you're not going to want to look all foe. You're going to look like one of the guys, like that you're just there having a cup of coffee, good time, whatever. So you would want to change that about you. You'd want to bring it down. I'm not sure you could bring it down though, can you?
Well, look, here's the thing, in the life, I certainly lived, in the cut and thrust of it, you never judge someone by appearances, never judge a book by its cover. But it really is, Terry, in all sense of purpose, a life of science. So you're looking for them small nuances, them small fluttering changes that are not obvious. It's not. You look for and you feel for and you're insightful for what is wrong with this picture. And it's all, really on a small level. Because you're dealing with a lot of guys who, they've been around the block, right? They're very advanced at deceit, at dishonesty, at showing another face, at leading you in, and all of this stuff. Anti-surveillance, like the whole bit. They live this life and they're forged for this life. So if you're a normal person, even as it were, or you're not advanced in this life or these skills, you won't be able to see that. But everyone has a tell, Terry.
Yeah.
Everyone has a moment where they show the real face. And me, I used to even position and push and pull people early so I would see more. That would be one of the skills. What do you think about that?
So I have to ask you. You said that that people that had a lifestyle like you did would be more undercover. They would not be as obvious. They would not try to come across as aggressive because that would be counterintuitive to their success. But tell me, are you more interested in coming in under the radar, or you want to come in under the radar but also scare your colleagues that could also be your counterparts? So like you still want to be, right, that bravado, you still want to pose, you still want to posture, you still want to say, keep the fuck away, right?
Look, that's a good question, because now we're into the inner kind of dynamics, the real forging personality stuff, how this translates in real time. You know, the fact of the matter is, a lot of people, if you would say in that, I mean, I don't like the word gangster. I think it's just, you know, I mean, there are many names, but if you talk someone who has a personality like that and lives a life like that, it's quite ego-driven, all right? Apart from the ego part of it, you know, there's a lot of show in it, especially if you're rising through the ranks or you're in a position of power, because you have to constantly emanate that power or that sense of strength, confidence, control, you know, to move guys round or be that person you need to be. But the paradox of that is, you know, and it's a really easy one, is the maturity of what you have in that life. Because there are different characters. You know, you would have the violent guys that are more brutish, but then you have the more sophisticated guys who are more money getters. And that doesn't really mean to say they can't use the tool of violence if they need to. And the ones who generally do really well at it and rise up are the ones that can do both, right?
So are you saying we're stereotyping?
In a sense, but what I'm doing is I'm giving the inner reflection, because what we're looking at is how does it really translate, what's really going on, and how can you really tell if someone is friend or foe. For instance, I've had people I've known in that life for many years. There was some that I knew for 25 years. We'd done everything together. But when circumstances dictated and turned against what was going on at the wrong way, you know, they set me up to get me killed, right?
Yeah,
what do you say about that?
I would say then maybe there is no such thing as friend and everyone is a foe. And if you're wrong, so it goes back to the same thing. If you're wrong, you're always going to be on edge. You're always going to have that situational awareness and make sure not trust anybody.
And that's a mindset, would you say?
Absolutely a mindset.
And a way of being?
Yes.
And a lifestyle?
Exhausting if you always have to be in that situational awareness kind of heightened state. It's going to be stressful, it's going to be exhausting, and you're not going to be able to have relations. It means you're not going to be able to work with a team because you would worry that team's going to flip on you. Going back to stereotyping, though, I have a question about that. So in the movies, when we watch the movies and we see the spies, let's go with, you know, this side of the fence. You see the spies, they're always really sexy. They stand out in a crowd. You know, they're in black, maybe with a red scarf, their hair's up, their makeup's on. They look hot, male or female. They just look hot. A real spy, they're not going to do that. They're going to have on the glasses and they're going to look like everybody else. Male or female, they're going to blend in.